The Ship of Fools. Episode 121. The Man with the X-Ray Eyes. The Shadow Quest drifted through a calm area of space, its engines humming with the lazy confidence of a ship that had survived too many catastrophes to fear routine. Snipes, however, was not calm. He paced the bridge like a man awaiting execution, wringing his hands and muttering to himself. Moxie watched him with mild amusement. "You're wearing a hole in the floor's metal plating." Snipes spun around, eyes wide. "Moxie, this is serious. I have my annual fleet physical today." Banning didn't look up from his console. "You say that every year." "This year is different," Snipes hissed. "I've been working with micro-engineering devices for years. Tiny circuits, tiny lasers, tiny explosions. My eyes are probably fried like breakfast eggs." Aurora flickered beside him. "Snipes, your vision tests have always been unusual." Snipes clutched his face. "Exactly. I once read the wrong eye chart because I thought the wall panel was flirting with me." Moxie smirked. "It wasn't." Snipes pointed dramatically. "That's what it wanted me to think." Banning sighed. "Just go to the exam." Snipes shook his head violently. "No, I need help. I need enhancement." Aurora dimmed. "Snipes, do not—" Too late, Snipes was already running down the corridor. The Shadow Quest touched down on a lonely moon dotted with flickering neon signs and questionable storefronts. Snipes wandered through a narrow alley where the walls sweated condensation and the air smelled faintly of burnt sugar and fried noodles. A crooked sign hung above a rusted metal door. "Dr. Vake's Vision Emporium. See the universe like never before." Snipes pushed inside. The interior was dimly lit, cluttered with jars of floating eyeballs, racks of alien spectacles, and posters advertising night vision, thermal vision, and vision that lets you see your enemies' souls. A tall, thin alien with 6 eyelids slithered forward. "Welcome, customer. What brings you to my humble establishment?" Snipes whispered. "I need to pass an eye exam, fleet level." Dr. Vake's eyelids fluttered with delight. "Ah, a man of desperation. My favorite kind." Snipes gulped. "Can you help?" The doctor produced a tiny vial filled with shimmering blue liquid. "1 drop in each eye before your exam. You will see better than ever." Snipes hesitated. "Is it safe?" Vake shrugged. "Define safe." Snipes nodded. "Good enough." He paid in credits and sprinted back to the ship. Fleet headquarters was a gleaming tower of glass and steel, bustling with officers, cadets, and bureaucrats who walked with the stiff posture of people terrified of paperwork errors. Snipes sat in the waiting room sweating through his uniform. Aurora whispered through his comm. "Snipes, do not use the drops." Snipes whispered back. Too late. He squeezed the drops into his eyes. The world exploded. Colors sharpened. Edges glowed. He could see the microscopic dust on the ceiling tiles. He could see the heartbeat in the nurse's neck. He could see through the wall into the next room, where a janitor was stealing office supplies. "Chief Engineer Snipes?" the examiner called. "You're up." Snipes stumbled into the exam room, pupils dilated like black holes. "Please read the top line of the chart," the examiner said. Snipes squinted at the chart, then past the chart, then through the wall, then through 25 buildings, then 5 miles away. He read aloud, "Eat at the Predator Cafe, where we hunt your food so you don't have to." The examiner blinked. "What?" Snipes pointed. "It's on the billboard behind the plasma refinery." The examiner stared at him in horror. "You failed!" Snipes screamed. "You have 1 week to return for a retest," the examiner said. "And please stop staring through my skull." Snipes screamed louder. Back on the Shadow Quest, Snipes' new superpower quickly became a nightmare. He walked into walls because he kept seeing the rooms behind them. He screamed every time he saw someone's skeleton. He accidentally complimented Aurora on her very efficient internal circuitry, which made her flicker in embarrassment. He walked into the mess hall and immediately turned around. Moxie raised an eyebrow. "What's wrong?" Snipes whispered, "I can see through your clothes." Moxie froze. "Snipes." Snipes held up his hands. "Not on purpose. It's like my eyes are doing their own thing." Moxie glared. "Stay away from me." Snipes nodded vigorously. "Yes, ma'am." Aurora flickered. "Snipes, your condition is unstable. The drops are altering your optic nerves." Snipes whimpered. "I don't want to see everything. I want to see normal things, like pie." 1 week later, the crew accompanied Snipes to Fleet headquarters to request an extension. Snipes wore 3 pairs of sunglasses stacked on top of each other. Banning whispered, "You look ridiculous." Snipes whispered back, "I can still see through all of them." As they entered the main hall, Snipes froze. His eyes widened. "Oh no." Moxie grabbed his arm. "What now?" Snipes pointed at a group of aliens dressed as maintenance workers. "I can see through their toolboxes. They're not tools. They're bombs." Aurora scanned them. "Confirmed. They are carrying concealed explosives." Snipes pointed again. "And that guy has a plasma rifle under his coat. And that one has a knife made of compressed dark matter. And that one—" Moxie cut him off. "We get it." The aliens moved toward the High Command Conference Chamber. Banning whispered, "They're going to assassinate the admirals." Snipes trembled. "We have to stop them." Moxie cracked her knuckles. "Finally, I need to bust something up." The Shadow Quest crew sprang into action. Moxie tackled the first assassin, disarming him with a swift kick to the sternum. Banning grabbed a bomb and hurled it down a containment chute. Aurora overloaded the lights, blinding the attackers. Snipes, meanwhile, ran in circles screaming, "I can see everything and I hate it!" But his X-ray vision allowed him to spot more hidden weapons, secret escape routes, and pressure points in the assassin's armor. "Hit that guy in the left knee! No, the other left knee! That one's mustache is fake! That guy's heart is on the wrong side! That one's wearing a wig!" The crew followed his frantic directions, and within minutes, the assassins were all subdued. Admiral Garrick stormed in, furious and breathless. "What in blazes is going on?" Banning gestured to Snipes. "He saved your life and those of the other admirals." Snipes waved weakly. "Hi." Garrick stared at him. "You look terrible." Snipes nodded. "I feel worse." Garrick sighed. "Fine. As a reward, you get an eyesight waiver. Permanently." Snipes collapsed in relief. Hours later, back on the Shadow Quest, Snipes blinked hard, trying to force the world to sharpen again, but everything stayed stubbornly normal. No glowing bones, no hidden weapons, no thermal signatures, just stars. He sighed dramatically. "I miss seeing through stuff." Aurora materialized beside him, her hologram soft and steady. "Snipes, your optic nerves have returned to baseline. This is a positive development." Snipes slumped. "Positive for who? I was a superhero for like 6 hours." Aurora tilted her head. "You screamed for 5 of those hours." Snipes waved her off. "That's just part of the origin story." Aurora dimmed. "You also ran into 12 walls." "Training montage," Snipes insisted. Aurora paused. "And you fainted when you saw your own skeleton reflected in a window." Snipes shuddered. "Okay, that part was horrifying." He leaned back in the chair, staring at the stars again. "Still, it was kind of amazing. I could see everything. I could see danger before it happened. I could see through lies. I could see through—" He sighed. "It's gone." Moxie walked in, adjusting her uniform. Snipes immediately sat up straight. Moxie raised an eyebrow. "Why do you look guilty?" Snipes squeaked. "No reason." Aurora flickered. Snipes was lamenting the loss of his temporary X-ray vision. Moxie groaned. "Good. My lead-lined underwear was giving me a rash." Snipes froze. Moxie narrowed her eyes. "Snipes, you couldn't see through lead, right?" Snipes smiled too quickly. "Of course not." Moxie stared at him. Snipes stared back. Aurora flickered. "Snipes, your heart rate just spiked again." Snipes bolted out of the room like a startled animal. Moxie shouted after him, "Snipes!" Aurora sighed. "He is going to hide in the ventilation ducts again." Moxie rubbed her temples. "Good. Gives me time to get my plasma blaster." The next day, the medbay lights were dimmed to a soft blue glow, the kind Aurora used when she wanted the crew to calm down without realizing they were being manipulated. Snipes sat on the exam table, swinging his legs nervously, while Dr. Farrow, a long-suffering medical officer, forced to make a house call to the Shadow Quest, prepared a final round of scans. "Just a quick follow-up," Farrow said, adjusting the scanner. "Make sure those alien drops didn't fry anything important." Snipes gulped. "Define important." Farrow sighed. "Anything you use on a daily basis." Snipes nodded solemnly. "Okay, so, nothing." Aurora materialized beside the bio bed. "Snipes, your optic nerves have stabilized. There is no remaining enhancement." Snipes slumped. "I know. I tried to see through the wall earlier. All I saw was a wall. It was humiliating." Farrow raised an eyebrow. "Most people consider that normal." Snipes shook his head. "Not me. I tasted greatness. I experienced power. I saw the universe's secrets. I saw danger before it happened. I saw—" He stopped abruptly. Farrow frowned. "What? What did you see?" Snipes pointed at the doctor's pocket. "You're hiding a donut." Farrow froze. "How did you—" Snipes blinked hard. The world blurred. The donut vanished from his vision. "Oh," he whispered. "Never mind. Lucky guess. I just have a sixth sense for donuts." Farrow slowly removed the donut from his pocket. "Get out of here." Snipes hopped off the table. "Yes, sir." Aurora followed him into the hallway. "Snipes, you appear disappointed." Snipes shrugged. "I don't know. Having X-ray vision was awful, but also kind of cool, like I was special." Aurora dimmed thoughtfully. "You are special. You saved Fleet High Command." Snipes brightened. "Yeah, I guess I did." Aurora added, "And you no longer see through clothing." Snipes nodded. "That's probably for the best." Aurora paused. "Especially for your own safety." Snipes blinked. "What do you mean?" Moxie rounded the corner, arms crossed, expression sharp enough to cut steel. "She means I'm still deciding whether to kill you or not." Snipes squeaked. "I didn't see anything! I swear!" Moxie stepped closer. "Good! Because if you had seen anything, I'd—" Snipes cut her off, panicked. "Nope, nothing. Totally blind, practically a bat." Moxie narrowed her eyes. "Uh-huh." She walked past him, but not before muttering, "Lead-lined underwear, never again." Snipes swallowed hard. Aurora flickered. "Snipes, your heart rate is elevated again. Are you ever going to tell Moxie you could see through lead?" Snipes whispered, "Are you crazy? Do you think I have a death wish or something?" He hurried down the corridor, muttering to himself, "Never tell her, never tell her, never tell her." Aurora watched him go, her hologram flickering with what might have been amusement. "Some lessons," she said softly. "You have to learn the hard way." Epilogue. The chart. The Shadow Quest cruised through a quiet ribbon of starlight, the kind of peaceful stretch that made the ship feel almost civilized. Banning sat in his ready room, reviewing mission reports with the grim determination of a man who knew Snipes was somewhere on the ship and therefore trouble was statistically imminent. A soft chime at the door. Banning sighed. "Enter." Snipes slipped inside, hands clasped behind his back, wearing the expression of a child about to present a macaroni art project he believed belonged in a museum. "Commander," Snipes said solemnly, "I brought you something." Banning braced himself. "Is it dangerous?" "Only emotionally." Snipes placed a large sheet of paper on the desk. It was a drawing, a very crude drawing. A stick figure Banning stood in the center, surrounded by floating shapes labeled in Snipes' handwriting. Shrapnel fragment. Old bullet. Weird metal thingy. Probably a tooth. Mystery chunk. Banning stared at it. "What am I looking at?" Snipes puffed out his chest. "A medical diagram of you, from when I had X-ray vision. I thought you should know what's inside you, in case you didn't." Banning blinked slowly. "Snipes, none of these are in the right place." Snipes nodded. "Yeah, the drops made everything kind of floaty." Banning pointed at one drawing. "Why is this labeled possible grenade?" Snipes shrugged. "I didn't want to assume." Banning set the paper down carefully, as if it might explode. "Snipes, Admiral Garrick already gave you a permanent eyesight waiver. You don't need to help me medically." Snipes nodded. "I know, but I figured you'd want to be aware of all the stuff inside you. You're like a walking hardware store." Banning pinched the bridge of his nose. "Snipes, I've been in combat for over 20 years. I'm aware." Snipes brightened. "Great! Then you can hang this in your office." Banning stared at him. "Why would I do that?" Snipes grinned. "Because I signed it." Indeed, in the bottom corner in enormous looping letters was, "Art by Snipes, Hero." Banning exhaled slowly. "I'll file it." Snipes saluted. "Glad I could help, Commander. I'm always at your service." He turned to leave, then paused in the doorway. "Oh, and if you ever want me to scan you again, just let me know. I remember where the optometrist's shop is." Banning's eyes widened. "No, absolutely not." Snipes nodded thoughtfully. "Yeah, you're probably right. Once was enough." He slipped out of the room. Banning looked down at the drawing again. He sighed. Then, despite himself, he smiled. The Shadow Quest drifted onward, carrying one commander, one warrior, one AI, and one man who briefly saw too much, and was now determined to share that gift in the most unhelpful way possible. End of episode 121. The missions of the Shadow Quest, the Ship of Fools, will continue.